Hi everyone, my name is Carly Bell and I love to do machine embroidery tutorials. And today we are continuing with our Candy Corn Quilt Shoppe Sew Along. This is a featured quilt from Kimberbell that we have been working on for the past couple weeks. And today we are going to be working on the pumpkin pincushion blocks and the thimble flowers blocks. So if you haven't already, there should be a link right underneath this video that brings you to my website, gives you all the info on this project along with a free printable cheat sheet in a way, or organizational chart that's going to help you stay organized for this project. And it has the names of the blocks. If you're adding the background quilting that was made specifically for this quilt, it has those file names, colors, sizes, embellishments, all the things in here for you. You can go and download this for free on my website. So that's it. I think that's all. Thank you for those of y'all that are tuning in live. I appreciate y'all being here. And let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, we are going to be working on the pumpkin pincushion and the thimble block. So I have my envelopes for those blocks. Now the pumpkin actually has 3 of the same identical pumpkin block. I think there's one of them though that has a little bit different fabric. But so today we're going to make one of them live, and then your homework is going to go make those other 2 blocks. But we're going to go over today, and you should have no trouble making the other 2. The thimble is a standalone one kind, so we'll make that one live, and then we'll be done with it. With both of these projects today, I'll be using my 5x7 hoop. And if you've seen any of my other classes, I am replacing no-show polymesh stabilizer with lightweight muslin cotton. I'm using this for my stabilizer. It works great and it's very cost effective. Let's see, any questions before we get started for our friends that are watching live? I've updated the website so that all of the past videos are on there. So it's the same link where you go get the cheat sheet. It's kind of like the home page for this sew along. And as I'm making new videos and classes for the blocks, I'm adding them to that website. So it's all there for you to watch in one place. All right, let's switch over to the craft table. And I got my 5x7 hoop, and I think we're going to start with the pumpkins. So just going to hoop our stabilizer, or muslin in this case. And then let's go over the supplies we're going to need. So if you haven't made your envelopes already, one of the things that came in the embellishment kit is what they call flexi foam. It's just a sewable foam. And that's going to make the pumpkin poke out and be more 3D and actually serve as a pincushion when we're done. All of the pumpkin blocks are the final size are 4x4. So if you're cutting your batting like me, pre-cut to size, you're going to need pieces of 4x4 batting. And then all 3 pumpkins have the same background fabric. So I have those pre-cut. And then I think some pumpkins have, let's see, this is like the middle for the pumpkin. And then these are the sides, something like that. Or this is the middle and these are the sides. But the 3 different pumpkins are going to have, each pumpkin has 2 fabrics, because you'll see when we make them, they're going to look like this, where like the different sections are different fabrics. So you're going to need all of that. And then thread colors. I have them all by my machine already, but orange, dark gray, purple, green, and like that goldy yellow. And then the background quilting for all 3 is a light gray. So now that we have everything we need, let's jump into Embrilliance. Let's see. And so y'all can see the how to put the background quilting with the block. but this one's super easy. Let me pull up my stuff. My mouse is not behaving. Okay, so this is my folder for Candy Corn Quilt Shop. And I'm going to go to the quilting bundle. According to my cheat sheet, I have 2 pumpkins that are Halloween 4. And then 1 pumpkin is wavy 3. So let's go ahead and knock out the Halloween 4. That's my first pumpkin. So I'm going to click that, embroidery design, block by block, pick your format, and then like my cheat sheet says 4x4. So this is the one we want. So I'm going to double click this. And now it's opened me up on a new frame, a new page. I'm going to change my hoop to 5x7 just so I can visualize everything. So this is how it's going to look in the hoop. If you want to do 2 of these at a time, you can fit 2 in. My mouse is just not cooperating at all. Here we go. 6x10. So if like we do have 2 pumpkins that need to be made with this background quilting, you could put one here, copy, paste, and get 2 of them done in one 6x10 hooping. So that's an option for you. I'm just going to do my 5x7. So let me go back to that. And at this button right here under the select tool, this is going to center your design in the hoop. So just a quick way to get things back to normal. All right, now I always mess with my background quilting because I skip. Oops, what did I do? Undo. I skip 2 steps. So this first one is placement for batting. This is tack down. I don't do that one. This is placement for your background fabric. I don't do that one. And this is the basting stitch for the background fabric. I do that. So I always skip steps 2 and 3. That's a personal preference. And my mouse and computer are not cooperating very nicely. Okay, let's just do one at a time. All right, hit delete on my keyboard. Hit delete on my keyboard. Okay, and it works out good because now they're still different colors. They're alternating colors, so my machine will stop so I can change thread colors for those. Now, let's go ahead and bring our pumpkin in. So I'm going to go back to my files and go to the actual quilt designs, which is like our applique designs. Go to embroidery files, pick your format, pick the quilt shop files, and pumpkin. So we are making 3 of these, but notice all 3 are the exact same file. So you're going to just stitch this out 3 times, okay? So I'm going to drag and drop it into Embrilliance, and it merges perfectly in the center of my block. And I can just look at it real quick and see we have some applique pieces. Let's see. Looks like we have 3 steps. So like I think the first one is just to add the foam. Then we have 1 applique fabric, 2nd applique fabric. And then these are all your finishing stitches where we just have to change thread color. So this one's pretty straightforward. So I'm going to go to File, Save Stitch File As. I got my USB stick plugged in. And I'm going to name it Candy Corn Quilt Shop Pumpkin 1. Save. All right, so now I'm going to go back to my cheat sheet and look and see what I need for the other block we're making today, the thimble flowers. I need hobby. Let's back up. Get back to this is my main folder for everything for this quilt. So this is the applique designs. This is the background quilting. I need hobby 2 4x6. Hobby 2 right here. Pick format. And then what did I say? 4x6. 4x6. That's me. So I'm going to double click that. It's going to open in a new hoop. And now I need to go drag the thimbles on top. So I'm gonna back up again, go to my quilt designs, embroidery files, pick your format, pick the quilt designs again, and now I am looking for the thimbles. Here they are. So I'm gonna drag and drop, and it goes right on top. This one's a really simple design. I did forget, I need to delete my 2 steps from my background quilting. So it's just one for my batting, one for my background fabric, and then the quilting. And then we'll go, this design is super quick. It does this one little stitch for a stem, and we'll actually add a button right here. That's the flower. And then this is your placement stitch for your thimble material, which is going to be this really shiny silver faux leather. And then this last stitch stitches all the detail, and then we'll go trim the leather after. So that's a super quick block, it looks like. So let's go to File, Save Stitch File As, pick my USB, Candy Corn Quilt Shoppe, Thimbles, and save. Okay, let me double check if we had any questions in the chat. Everyone's doing good this morning. So that was it for Embrilliance. This is a prime example of some of those blocks that you don't even need Embrilliance if you don't want to mess with it on your computer. I'm the type of person, I like doing all this. So I just go to my machine and it's plug it in, ready to go. But by all means, you could just have all these designs on your USB stick or send them to your machine if you have wireless, and open up the background quilting. And then once you have it open, on Brother and Baby Lock machines, there is an add button, and you click add, and then you go pick your pumpkin, click it, boom, it's done on your machine. And then if I was doing that, I would skip the steps that I deleted in Embrilliance. I could just skip on my machine, even though they're still all in there. So that's definitely going to be a personal preference thing, whatever works best for you. But what I just did was super simple. I just merged 2 designs into one file and deleted the couple steps that I don't want to do. All right. So now that we have everything, let's go over to the machine. I have my hoop already set up with my stabilizer. Oh, I do have to eject my USB stick. I always forget this. Eject. Okay, that's done. And now I can go plug it in. Okay, I just turned my machine on. Okay. Okay, now plug my stick in. Hit embroidery, USB, or wireless if you sent it wireless. And we're doing the pumpkin first. Here's my pumpkin right here. Okay. Set. Embroider. Okay. So my first step is my placement stitch telling me where to put my batting. I have orange thread on. I'm just going to leave that on there. And then I'll switch it after, because we're going to use the water soluble actually next. I'll put that right here. And then the quilting will be in light gray. Let me grab my batting and my glue stick. Make sure. Hope the light is good for y'all. Okay, so I have now my orange square telling me right where to put my batting. And if you've not watched me do this before, don't freak out. Elmer's School glue stick works great as a little temporary adhesive that is light tack, I guess you would say, and doesn't gum up my needle, but holds my batting right where I want it to, because I cut it to size. So this just allows me to skip that whole trimming bit, because normally you would just treat this as an applique. You would just put any piece of batting on top as long as it covered your stitch line, the placement stitch line. and then you would stitch that next step, which I deleted, and you would trim this like an applique. I love skipping that step because this, to me, oops, dropped one of my threads. This is so much easier. Now, oops, excuse me. It's hard. I got all these things in my way, so it's hard to grab things when they fall on the floor that I don't knock the camera over. All right, next, I also skipped the background fabric placement line because I really don't feel like I need anyone to tell me where to put my fabric because my batting is telling me where to put my fabric. So I'm just going to place that right on top, cover it all around. If you cut your fabric to the recommendations in the instructions, if you pre-cut all your fabric, you have more than enough wiggle room to put your fabric right on top of your batting. Okay, now I'm doing the water soluble thread. This was a trick someone told me about where normally we have to remove the basting stitch before we trim. And this makes removing it so much easier because we just spray it with water. And I'm only using it in the top, not in the bobbin, because once I dissolve it, the bobbin thread just like pulls out, no problem. All right, water soluble thread, basting stitch. And normally you can just leave it go, but if you want to make sure things stitch out smoothly, you can use a stiletto, chopstick, pencil, to make sure things are going like you want. So this is a directional print. So this one I would be careful not to put it on there crooked. I think I did a decent job putting it on there straight. You can see my stitch lines through the geometric pattern and it looks good. All right. Now, no more. That's the only time we need the water soluble thread, so we can get rid of that. And the last part of this bit, which is the background quilting design that we opened up first, is the actual quilting. And I'm doing all 3 of these pumpkin blocks with a light gray thread color. I think that's going to show up nice. Wait, thread the needle. I always forget. I think that's going to look nice on this pretty fabric. Okay, now I'm ready. Okay, so that's going to start quilting. All right. Oh, I see someone mention Nashville. Brenda, you go to Nashville every month. I'm going to Nashville next month. I need suggestions of quilt shops, fabric stores, craft stores to visit while I am there. Please give me all of these suggestions. I want to hear about them. All right. Oh, yeah, this is very pretty. Very pretty. Hi, Cindy. Let's see. Got people from all over. I love it. But yeah, I'm excited to be going to Nashville next month. And I haven't started researching yet, but I know y'all will give me some good suggestions for anyone that's familiar with the area. I want to go visit some good places. All right, so question for all of you. Who has gotten all their supplies in? Raise your hand in the chat. Give me a little hands up. Let me know if you are doing this with me, if you finally got all your supplies in. Thank you, Brenda. Yeah, you can, Brenda, email me, or anyone that has any suggestions, email me at hello@carlybell.com. Please, pretty please, tell me any good places to go in the Nashville area. Okay. Okay, Cindy's ready. She's got all her stuff. Wait, I'm trying to do. Here we go. So who is still waiting on stuff to come in? Let me know. I placed an order, not for this project, but for a project I'm doing tomorrow. And was really hoping it would be in by tomorrow, but it's not. So I won't have it in time. Okay. We're done with the background quilting. It came out super cute. I love the little candy corn flowers. Love it. All right. Our next step is a placement stitch showing us where to put the foam. This could be done in any color thread. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep going. Actually, no, I'm going to change it to orange so then we can see it. Because if I do this light gray on that foam, it's going to just blend right in. It'll sink in, which will make it visible, but this will make it a little bolder for everyone to see. I'm going to switch to orange, but you can do these next few steps in any color. All these applique steps, any color thread. All right, so let's stitch it. This is our placement. I'm going to get my foam out. Okay. And I didn't pre-cut my foam in the instruction booklet. It'll tell you like how to cut this up. I'm just gonna do this. Just put it in this top corner. Make sure it's covering all those stitches. As tight as I can with covering everything up. Okay, now I'm gonna leave that there. And we're gonna repeat. So the next step is just a repeat. So it's just the outline of the pumpkin. And this is what's going to give it that fun 3D effect. And we're treating this just like an applique. Got our placement stitch and our tack down stitch, and then we're going to trim. All right, I'm going to take this over to the craft table to trim. Just to have a better workspace. Because like when I'm doing stuff for myself at home, I'll just cut it right there by my machine as best I can. Or like put it, I have my little desk areas right next door where my keyboard is, and I'll just put it sometimes on top of my keyboard or push my keyboard to the side so I can do things. But when I'm teaching, I try to come back over here so that y'all can see better. But wherever you're working, do what works best for you. You don't have to move around as much as I do. All right, so this stuff cuts pretty easily. I'm using my regular applique scissors that I use for everything. These are my Kimberbell ones. I also have some from Havel's. I have them all linked on the home page for this project that I told y'all about earlier. Everything's linked on there. All the little tools I use, along with all the designs and fabric and embellishments and stuff. All right, so I'm just trimming this. Okay. And I'm going to take a quick peek at my book. I think this is Pumpkins 1. So it's the starry like fabric with the orange in the middle. So it really doesn't matter. They're all nearly the same. They just have a little bit different fabric used for each one. So you can grab any combination you want. But I know the bigger pieces, that's one per different pumpkin, and the smaller pieces is the same piece for each pumpkin. All right, so now that we have that, I think this is our smaller piece, but let me double check myself. Let's see, my cheat sheet tells me that the instructions for this block are on page 33 in our booklet. If you got the physical one mailed to you, if you have the PDF, you could just open it on your computer. So yeah, now we're doing the fabric that came with all three. So that's going to be this guy. So we're gonna, no. Are we doing a placement stitch first? Yes. Oh, you probably don't even need a placement stitch, but let's do it. All right, we trimmed it. Stitch the Pincushion B placement line. And then you'll do it again and stitch the tack down line. But you really could skip this step if you want, because it's pretty obvious where you're supposed to put your fabric. Same for the next one. We'll skip the next bit of fabric. We'll skip the placement stitch. Right. Okay, so that just covers up my whole pumpkin pretty much. And this shouldn't have any trouble staying where I want, but you can tape it or you can use a stiletto. Now, with this foam, it is poking up. Some machines have the option to raise the height of the presser foot so that if you're working with thick items like this, if you're worried about the presser foot dragging too much, you can raise the height. Other machines don't have this feature. I have mine set on default. So that's the normal height of the presser foot, and it seems to be handling it just fine. Okay. Now this is going to come off, and we'll trim, and then we'll come back and do the other piece of applique. All right. Let's see. Cindy said she finally found the backing fabric. Lori finally got her fabric in, but just haven't had the time yet. I totally understand that. Let's see. Elsa needs some fabric for the background quilting. Off to Michael's later today. I double ordered embellishment kits and fabric. Oh, so you're going to make 2 of them? Nice. Becky's still having trouble finding fabric. We're going to have to go search. When we have something that's stitching for a long time, we're just going to go to Google and find it together. Because I found, I think I lost the ones that I had posted from Etsy are sold out. And I don't think I found any more Etsy ones. But I found like other like random quilt shops that have their own website that they had it in stock. But we can go look together. All right. Yeah, and don't get like, if you get this done by Halloween, amazing. But literally, we can finish it and have it ready for next year. Because I mean, according to my schedule that I got now, and I'm still like way behind on my own homework that I'm telling everybody we need to do. I am going to have this ready like a couple days before Halloween, which I have all my Halloween decorations up in my house right now. So next year, this sucker's going out early. And same with like, I started my Main Street Celebration bench pillow over the summer with aspirations of having it done by 4th of July. That did not happen. So I'm not stressing myself out about it. And I put it on the back burner, and we'll finish it when I have time, and it will be ready for next 4th of July. Okay, so that was what they're calling applique fabric B. And now we're going to go do applique fabric A, which will fill in these white spaces here. And I'm going to cheat and skip this tack down, the placement step, because I really don't think we need it. So on my machine, I go to the needle plus minus button, And I have these arrows. You may also have like a spool plus minus. That is to jump entire steps. So I'm going to skip this whole step, and it's the same exact stitch, but it is a tack down. Get my fabric. This is it. See, it's very easy to decipher where to put it. And here we go. All right. I think the stiletto is helpful in this case because the foam is making things come up. So like I have to make sure it doesn't bubble too much there. Yeah. I'm gonna let you do it. Okay, so we're done with all the applique. We're gonna go trim this. Every step after this is just gonna be thread changes. And the first thread color is orange. So that worked out good to where I used orange. Oh wait, I gotta switch cameras. There you go. I used orange for all of these steps. That works out good. That's my next color. That's usually what I do with appliques. I look and see what's the first color I'm actually going to see. The first thread color that really is seen in the design, because all these applique pieces, this all gets covered up. And that's usually the thread color I do all my beginning applique steps with that get covered up. So then that's like one less thread change. When I first started out, it was hilarious. I thought I had to put every color that my machine told me to put on. So if it told me to do green for the placement step and then purple for the tack down step, I was doing it. And then I finally realized I'm like, I don't need to do this. And then also I was just so like, I'm a person that just follows directions, I guess, even though sometimes I'm terrible at following directions. But I was making the girls this cute little Elsa applique design. And I think like on the computer or on in Brilliance, the colors looked right. But when I went to my machine, some of them looked a little different. And one of them was just Elsa's lips. Like normally, and it, like in the example picture and everything, it's a red or pinky color. Well, my machine said black. So when I got to that step, I loaded black thread and I stitched it out. my dad saw the shirt after I made it for her, and he's like, "Why did you make her lips black instead of like red or pink?" I'm like, that's what my machine told me to do. So that's what I did. Now I pay more attention to those kinds of things, and I don't always listen to what my machine tells me to do. Okay. So this is all trimmed. Look how cute that is. Isn't that cute? All right, so all the steps after this is going to just be thread changes. And then I could come see what y'all talking about in the chat, and we can go on the hunt on Google to find a fabric kit that is not sold out. All right, this step here is going to take 6 minutes to stitch out. So we'll let it do its thing. Okay. I'm checking the chat. Debbie got all her stuff. We're going to go look at A to Z quilting because I see some suggestions for there. Anthem fabrics. Let me start opening some tabs on my internet browser. Oops, don't spill my water. All right, A to Z quilting. I'm going to open them up. Okay, and then what was the other one? Anthem. ANTHEM fabrics. I'm going to look them up. Okay. All right, so let's go look at A to Z first. Okay, so I'm gonna change over to my computer. All right, so this was one suggestion. Someone told me this in my VIP membership group too. So this is a quilt shop in Quincy, Illinois. Their website is the letter A and then TO, the letter Z, quilting.com. So let's just search Candy Corn Quilt Shop. Okay, there is all right, so here's the quilt. Let's see what we got. Fabric kit, embellishment kit, gray backing fabric. So put fabric kit, 6 in stock. So there's your answer right there. So A to Z quilting. Let's see if I can copy this and put it in the chat. Tell me if that shows up for both my friends on Facebook and YouTube. Do y'all see that link in the live chat? Okay. And then I'll just go look at Anthem Fabrics real quick while I got that pulled up. Candy Corn Quilt Shop. And they only have the book, the CD, and the embellishment kit. So this is another option I'll put in the chat. So this is just the designs or the embellishment kit. Those are available at Anthem Fabrics that someone suggested. All right, Becky says she's got it in her cart. Yay. Glad we could help. All right. Okay, and people are seeing the links. Wonderful. Okay, Linda said, Hubs asks why I don't get things done. So I sent him out so I could watch this and be here for orders coming in. Am I bad? No, you are not. You are smart. That is what we call inventive. Very smart. Love it. All right. So, yay. Okay, any questions while we're waiting for this stuff to stitch? I'm looking around me. What else can I get ready? So I'm going to put this foam back in my envelope because I'm going to need it for the other pumpkin blocks. I don't need this envelope anymore. I'll stitch these other pumpkin blocks later. But I'll put my finished block in here. I've been doing better with that. Oh, something I was working on before I started the video was, I still haven't finished my border blocks, but what I did do was I looked at my chart and everything, and I figured out which pieces needed to be sewn together before it gets quilted. So y'all know in the first or the second class, we did border blocks, and we had to piece all these little squares together, and then we quilted it. There's a few other blocks that you have to do that with. There's only, like, it turns out to be 3. But this one is the green bats, the white stripe, and this is the actual velvety fabric. You'll see that? That came in the embellishment kit. So this is one thing. These 2 little pieces go together. And then, again with the velvet, those 2 little pieces go together. So I got that done. And now, and then I worked in Brilliance. I could show y'all that. I worked in Brilliance and made it to where I could do all of the blocks that I have left in 2 hoopings. So this is my big, 9.5 by 14 hoop that my Stellaire can do. So I just went down my cheat sheet and I opened up all of the border blocks besides that first one we made in class. I opened up all the quilting designs, and then I just played with them in the hoop to make them fit. Now these are really tight. You see right here? I normally do not do this, but in this case, these blocks are already cut to fit right in this orange outer line. So I'm not going to have any overlap. I'm not even going to end up stitching I'm going to stitch the placement, but I'm going to end up not even stitching the tack down because it's not even going to catch the fabric. It's going to fit right inside, just like our batting did. So this is the first time I'm doing this, but I think it's going to work fine. So I fit all of these in the big 9.5 by 14 hoop, and then the rest, this is a 6 by 10 hoop. So I haven't messed with color sorting and all of them yet. I just got them to fit. And then later I'm going to go and like delete the steps that I don't use. And then I will make sure everything's a different color, and then I'll color sort. So that's a bit of a process, but I showed y'all this in that class. We did like in a little example run. Okay, so we're done with the orange. Now we need green. So let me take, I don't need this silvery color anymore. I picked lime green. I don't know. I think that in the thread kit, it looks like a lime green. So we'll see. I think it's going to look good. You know, the orange, lime green, and purple, they all look good together for Halloween. But if you don't like lime green, by all means, pick whatever shade you want. Because don't be like me and follow all the instructions to the T, because they may be wrong color-wise. Okay, so we're stitching the little stem of the pumpkin. Then what's next? Then we're going to go back to the orange, and it's going to finish this satin outline here. Then we're going to need dark gray, so I'm going to put that up here on my machine so that I know what colors after that. That's going to give us all our little needle pieces, so like the pincushion needles. And then back to orange, gold, and purple. So I got gold and purple here ready. We don't need this one anymore. All right, so yes, we're just switching thread colors now. I like the lime green. It pops. Got that. And change back to orange. And that's just going to do this satin bit in the middle that it missed because it wants to do it on top of the green. Okay, done with green. I'll load my dark gray. All right, Annette is asking, am I using a 6 by 10 hoop from Amazon at some point? Which 6 by 10 hoop are you talking about? I'm using the normal Brother 6 by 10 hoop, but if you're talking about a magnetic one, I don't have one of those. I don't have a 6 by 10 one of those. I have the big giant 9.5 by 14. Let me know which hoop you're talking about. But I'll show you real quick. This is my 6 by 10 hoop. This one. So this one actually didn't come with the Stellaire. The Stellaire comes with 4 hoops. It comes with 4 by 4, 5 by 7, 9.5 by 9.5 square, and then 9.5 by 14 is its biggest. It can accommodate any hoop size between, as long as it's less than 9.5 by 14, but it doesn't come with all of them. This is from my NQ 1700 Brother flatbed embroidery machine. That one has a max embroidery field of 6 by 10. And so I have that machine on a shelf. I only pull it out and use it for classes, but I stole the hoop from it because I have my Stellaire set up ready to use all the time. But that's where I got this hoop from. But you can buy, let's see, the normal 6 by 10. Yes. So, yeah. So What did I click? All right. So you can order this. The brother ones are expensive. Now this one is a brother one, but on Amazon, I didn't purchase the 6x10 set, but I've purchased the 5x7 set. I think the company is either Sotec or Embroidex. They sell, what do you call that? Like off market or something, off brand hoop sets for the PE 800, PE 900, SE 1900 or 2000. Like that set works for all of those machines. Those are the ones that have the bracket system. And then they also sell a set for the NQ 16, 1700 or the sewing embroidery version of them. 3550, 3600, 3700 maybe. All of those hoops fit. That one set of hoops fits all those machines, and it comes with, I think, the small, like 2x3, 4x4, 5x7, and 6x10. So it comes with all four, but it's like $40. Where I think on the Brother website, this costs over $100. So it's worth it just getting the off-brand hoops. But yeah, go get that set because they'll come in handy when, like, I'm using my 5x7 hoop right now. But say I want to get ready and hoop something else while this is stitching. I have that backup hoop. So yeah, grab yourself one, even though it doesn't say Stellaire on it, it fits it. All of the Brother slide-on hoops, I'm almost certain work. If your machine has an embroidery arm where the hoops slide on, then any of those hoops should work, but it has to be one that fits. It's not over your max embroidery field. Like I can't go get the Luminaire big 10x16 hoop and put it on here. This machine can only stitch so far. Like I could put it on there, but it's not going to magically start stitching a 10x16 project. You know what I mean? Okay. But I don't even know if I put it on here, if the machine would be like, nope, you can't use this. I don't have one to play with, so I can't test it. Nope, something's not right. The thread broke. Like I don't see it moving. Okay, let's cut. Okay. And this is something someone's asked me about. So my thread broke, but I don't see any thread here. Now I'm still going to try not to pull my thread out backwards from the top. I'm not just going to pull, but I'm going to try and like go along the thread path and pull it out. And I see I got a big kind of nest. What do you call this? I can't remember. My words are failing me. But when this all shrivels up like that, we can cut that and rethread. And I see where it stopped right here, and the thread kind of frayed. Let me see if I could cut that out. And I'll stitch over that step again. Okay. That looks good. Now I'm going to back up until my needle gets like over here. So I know that I'm going to overlap, and I'm going to cover up those spots where it did not stitch. Okay. Watch it and make sure the thread is, here's something. Nope. Did it break again? Didn't break again, but it's like skipping stitches. Let me cut. Maybe something's in my bobbin case that's making it angry. Yeah, you see like this is happening on the back. That's not right. Let me check in here. Pull this out and get my pipe cleaner. If y'all saw when was that? My August sip and stitch. Whew, that was a hot mess. It's almost done stitching my project, and the needle broke, and it broke like down in, the needle fell out and then broke, and I had to take it all apart, but it all worked out, luckily. But I like to use just like the little craft pipe cleaners. I just bend them and you do that. I don't see anything in there. So technically I'm not supposed to do this while the machine is on, but I do it anyway. On some machines you can just like pull this and it'll pop off. On this one you use the little screwdriver bit and lean it. I'll lean it this way. See, it's going to tell me, turn the machine off when you remove the needle plate. But do as I say, not as I do. I see a thread there. Okay. See, even something as stupid as that can be causing problems. And I could take my whole bobbin case out and check down here. We got just some dust. Nothing terrible. There's some dust. So I just kind of dust with my pipe cleaner. I can get in between the feed dogs with this too. Works pretty good. All right, hopefully that solves our problem. And now I'm going to put my bobbin case back, and there's like this little white notch and a little white dot here. Kind of tells you that you got it in right. And like I do this and make sure that's where it's supposed to be. And then I'll slide this back, and I have to re-thread my bobbin. Okay. All right, now I'm going to move my tools out the way, but I'm going to cut all this. And try to get all these little thread pieces off so that they don't fall back in there and cause me problems. And I'm still gonna back up and stitch over all this again, because instead of pulling them all out, I think it'll be easier just to stitch on top of them. Okay, back up. Okay, let's try this again. Is my thread? Yeah, my thread's there. Needle's threaded. See if it gives me trouble stitching over it. No. Now everything sounds good. Like you could hear it. Like it didn't sound right when it was stitching that a minute ago. And I'm using my dark gray thread, but like once it gets here, you really can't see it. I wonder if I should have used the light gray thread. I kind of see it, but not too much. All right, let me pick up my mess. Okay. Go back and check the comments. Okay, going back to Annette's need of a 6x10 hoop. Elsa said she got the Honey Sew brand from Amazon, and that worked for her. All right. Hi, Lori and Donald. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, I love my machine. Like I have several because I teach with them, but this is by far the one I use the most. The only time I don't use this machine, oh, it broke again. Yeah, there's a little fraying happening again. The only time I opt to not use this machine is when it's like clothing. Unless it's flat, because like I did last year when those like side split applique designs were super popular on sweatshirts. I could do it on here because I could lie it flat. But if it's like in the normal spot of a shirt, then I'm doing that on either my 6 needle or my 1 needle that has a free arm, PR1X. Okay, let me check the back. It's not too bad. Okay, and again, I'm going to pull the thread out the path. Yeah, what is that called? Bird nesting? Is that my word I'm forgetting? Let's see. Let me double checking my upper thread path too to make sure it's not getting hung up on something that's causing this problem. And sometimes it's just the thread color doesn't like me. Oh, I never trimmed it. I never trimmed the, normally when this happens, I hit the cut button on the machine so it cuts the bobbin thread. So the bobbin thread was not trimmed. So I just trimmed it myself. Okay, let's try backing up and doing this again. And normally I just back up 20 to 30 stitches, but I really want to make sure that it's going back and covering up the spots where it's like fuzzy. Did I thread my needle? No, thread the needle. Wait, I don't think that worked. It didn't. There's no bobbin. It didn't go down. Oh my goodness, I'm not having good luck here. And this didn't stitch either, the top part that I thought I redid. I should have rethread the bobbin when I cut it instead of just cutting it. All right, let's try this again. Okay. It's really hard to see because the thread color almost matches the fabric, but the top of this didn't stitch, and then it was supposedly stitched something here. It's probably supposed to be like a bean stitch. It didn't stitch at all. And I think that's because earlier when I just trimmed the bobbin up here, I messed it up. So let me pull it through that path a good bit. And I'm going to back up until I get back over here. There, let's try that. Is my needle threaded? Yes. One more time. All right, that looks better. And now it's going to do the bean stitch. And actually stitch it this time. Okay, now we're done. What's my next color? I think the yellowy color. the pincushion divots. Okay, so that's back to orange, I think. I think this is supposed to be like a detail showing it, making it look like all those little needles that it stitched is actually like causing a dent in the pincushion. Okay, stitch those. And then we'll do golden yellow color, back to orange, and purple. Okay. Yay, Becky. So happy for you. Not only thank you for helping her find it, but helping her to spend money. I am very good at that. All right, Cindy says, okay, so the bird nesting, it happens to her too. I swear it's a thread color. It can be, surprisingly, if you haven't heard of this before. You may have all the same brand of thread and never have any trouble. But one particular color, your machine can hate it and do all that stuff to it. And then that's it. You got to find a different brand of that thread color. It's crazy. And then some machines don't like a particular brand at all. So like sometimes it could just be just the individual spool or an entire brand. They're very finicky. Gotta say play nice. And then hopefully that won't give you any trouble. All right, so we got the goldy yellow color. And this is going to be like a piece of thread going through one of those needles. So if y'all did Oh So Delightful sew along with me in the spring, this block is almost the same exact thing as the tomato pincushion block that we made for that quilt. So when we're done, I think there are some cute little pins that we can put in it as an embellishment. All right, going back to orange. There's going to be a little pin head detail. And then purple will be another pin head detail. Get purple ready. And that's our last step for this guy. Okay, so we're gonna go. All right, that's the last step. And then we can hoop our stabilizer for the thimble block. Okay, take her off and come back over here. And I'm going to trim. I'm going to cut my stabilizer right here before the spot where it is actually stitched. So gain a little extra space with that. So now it's ready to hoop again. So it worked out good. I got 2 hoop-ins out of that piece. All right, and now we're going to go load our thimble flowers block. And while that's stitching, we'll clean this up. So I got my envelope for that, and go back to the machine and load that design. I hit OK, home, back to embroidery, USB, thimbles, set, embroider. Okay, and my purple thread's on. I'll just leave that there for now. And the first step is showing me right where to put my batting. Let me go check my cheat sheet to see what color the background quilting is. Thimble Flowers is black. So I really only need the black and green thread for this. This block. The background quilting's in black, and then the detail on the thimbles is in black. And I just got one little green piece coming out. And then, of course, I'm going to use my water-soluble thread for the basting part. Where did I put that? Right here. Okay, so I need to blue. And batting. Background fabric. Okay, just put that right on top. Slide that in. Water soluble thread for my basting stitch. And baste that down. That looks good. And next we'll do the background quilting, and I'm doing that in black. Okay. And after this is quilting, the next is just one little piece with green thread, and then we'll go back to black. Okay. And then I got my applique material ready there. Okay, so let that go. Let me go check the chat. And what I will do is go ahead and soak. I'm going to spray this with water and let this that water soluble basting stitch start dissolving. Also need to warm up my iron, because my little process, what I do is I dissolve the basting stitch, then I iron, then I trim. So you can see it just kind of going away there. And then on the back, you could just, there's nothing holding the bobbin thread in place anymore. So just pull right up, no problem. So now it's got like little pieces that don't dissolve all the way. I just kind of rub them out. And let that start drying a little bit and warm up my while this block is stitching. Okay. All right, here's a question. Would it not be easier to leave the water-soluble thread, then using our orange pop rulers to trim, then dissolve the basting stitch? From my understanding, we are getting rid of the basting stitch before you trim allows for the cut to be just right. I personally, the first few blocks I did before we did Oh So Delightful, so just some other smaller projects, I did the basting stitch and never took it out and trimmed with it on there. Because you end up cutting right on top of it is what happens. And that could skew your cut line slightly. And it has happened to me. So I can say it is better to remove the basting stitch before you cut, because that is essentially right. That is the line your rotary cutter is going to be cutting on. All right, we got our green little stem detail. But that's a great question. But that's why I do what I do. But there are people that go and trim their blocks without even removing the basting stitch as well. So you can try it both ways and see what works for you. But yeah, essentially the basting stitch can be used as a guideline of exactly where to cut. Yes. Oh, good luck, Linda. Get all your prevention shots. I need to take my kids. I need to schedule an appointment at the pediatrician for them to get their flu shots. I'm so bad about it every year. And it seems like their annual checkups are always in the summer. So like normally we would go, when we had a doctor's visit, we would get them while we were there. But we're never there when the flu shot is actually available. All right, what did I do? I don't want to lower my needle. I want to thread my needle. Probably shouldn't have changed my thread colors for this step. I should have left it green. But the next step is a placement for where to put your silver pretty leather. And then the stitch after this is in black. That's the detail on this. So for me, it's okay because I will see where the placement is, but y'all are not going to see. I'm sorry. But I could have did it in lime green so y'all could see. It would get covered up after. So it doesn't matter what color you do for this step. I could see that's one thimble there. But basically, I'm just going to put this whole piece on there. But this is going to guide me that I put it in the right spot. The green pops on the black big time. Pretty. Okay, so there's y'all can't see, but where I'm pointing with my finger, that's one thimble, two thimbles, three thimbles. And I am just putting my silvery leather right on top of them. Technically, I probably won't be able to even use what's left after this as a scrap, but I'm still going to try. So I'm going to put it in a corner. And you can tape it or hold it, but once it starts stitching, then I won't have to hold it no more. Okay. So, and remember, this is not just a tack down stitch. This is the final stitch with all the little details and everything. So this is going to stitch for 8 minutes. And when it's all done, the block is completely done, and then we will trim these. That's the last step of this block. Yes, Jeanette, I absolutely love my Stellaire too. Linda she concurs. Absolutely love it. Oh, and Cindy has Baby Lock All Tear too. It's exactly the same except the brands, Baby Lock and Brother. and brother has a collaboration with Disney. So I do have some Disney designs on my machine. But yeah, it's exactly the same, Cindy. I used to have the Altair 1, and I traded it in for the Stellaire 2 because I wanted the Disney stuff, of course. And then the difference between the 1 and the 2, they have some really nice features that came with the 2. And things that I was obsessed with when it came out, but I haven't even played with yet. Has anyone that has a Stellaire 2 or Altair 2, have y'all played with the couching foot? Because I was so enamored by it when it came out, and I have it, but I have not played with it, not once. So let me know if you have, and how do you like it? The only thing about it, like you can stitch the designs that came on the machine, but I'm wondering, does anyone sell designs that are made to be used with a couching foot? Because they had some cool fonts that came on the machine, but like I want to do all kinds of stuff. So, and once I play with it, maybe I can figure out how to digitize it, how it works, and then I could digitize my own designs. That'll be fun. All right, so we're just stitching out the details on the thimble. All right, Cindy hasn't played with her couching foot either. I don't even know where it's at, so I can pull it out of the box and show y'all. Let's see. This is my box that came with my machine. Let's see if it's in here. No, I don't even think it's in here because it was bigger. No, it's bigger. It's going to be somewhere under this desk, which is too difficult to dig in right now. I got this like little 3-tiered cart on wheels. That's where I keep a lot of my sewing supplies in, and I just like pull it out when I need it. It hides under my table usually. It might be in here. But no, I'm not going to do that to myself right now. So let me look. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. So if anyone knows, for anyone that doesn't know what that is, because I didn't know what it was. Let's see. I don't even know how to spell it. Oh, this person must have done it freehand. That's pretty. So if you don't know what it is, it's an attachment so that you can actually run yarn through your presser foot and sew the yarn right into place. And the machine comes with some designs that are specifically made for couching. And I can't find any pictures except this one. Let me make it big. This looks like a cute blog. Okay, here's a good picture. Let me show y'all my desktop. Okay, so this is a blog, Life So Savory. I'm gonna have to go check this blog out when we're done now. This looks right up my alley. And this is her machine just like mine. You still use an embroidery hoop, and she's not showing where her yarn is, but it like feeds down here and it goes through. I wonder if it still goes through the embroidery foot, and the needle hits it just right so that it sews the yarn in place. And I don't know if you use invisible thread, but look, that's the this must be a design that came on the machine. Then I haven't noticed this one. Look how cute. But that's what I want to play with. But I have not. All right, I'm going to save that blog to go look at it. Yeah, Cindy said even the little box that comes with the machine looks the same. Everything's the same. They're made in the same, factory, manufacturer. Like, they're separate companies, but they're built in the same, by the same manufacturer. It's crazy. I don't know. I've asked my brother, like my friends that are brother ambassadors and educators and stuff like that, and it's still crazy to me how that works. Twinsies, yep. That's why I tell people, like, if you have any baby lock or brother machine, your functions will be super duper similar. Even if you have a little tiny screen on your machine, or you have a big giant screen on your machine like mine today, all the functions and the icons for those functions are going to be the same. So it's easy to you could put any one of those machines in front of me and I'll know how to use it. All right. While that is still stitching, this is dryish, and I got my iron. I'm just gonna start ironing this guy. I think the foam is not too heat sensitive, but I'm gonna avoid it. So just try to smooth everything out. And I need to go. I don't think I have my 4x4 orange pop ruler out and accessible, so I'm gonna have to pull that out. So it's helpful to have a rotating cutting mat. I'm gonna get that. And let me check my basket. I think I only have the rectangle ones out. Yeah, I need. So pull out my pretty Kimberbell bag where I store everything. I got this for my birthday for myself earlier this year. And it holds all my clear blue tiles and books, markers, USBs, and on this side, all my orange pop rulers and then my quilting rulers too. So we need this guy. So this is 4x4. I have a link for this bag on the homepage for the sew along if you want to treat yourself like I did. Okay. So I like to do it on the back. You're pretty much centering the basting stitch line with your orange pop ruler, and I even look at the puncture marks where my basting stitch was as a guide of right where to put my orange pop ruler. And then we're just going to start on the left and work our way around. You just rotate the mat and nothing else moves in the process. And then if I do a good job, almost, I can just pull it out when it's done. But I got one little spot that did not cut right there. Okay, there we go. So there's my block. Let's see, for the thimble block, that is 4x6. So that's a different ruler. So you see they got a rectangle set and a square set. And all of this is, again, on the home page for the sew along. The links to all my little tools are on there if you want to get some things for yourself. They're definitely not all necessary. but I have a really hard time distinguishing between wants and needs. So I'm not the best person to ask. I need them, but I'm not going to absolutely tell you you need them. You can do this with a regular ruler. It just makes life a little easier. Almost done with the thimble. Lots of little black dots happening on there. It's really cute. Very cute. Any questions while we're waiting on that? Everybody doing good? So we heard some of our friends have all their stuff in. So who has made the flying geese block? Raise your hand if you've made that. I still only made one. I still have to make the other one. And I still have, like, all the homework is still on my to-do list. Let me pull my homework sheet out so we could see what we're doing. Let's see. All right, Cindy made flying geese. Awesome. So I did my homework from the first day, got everything cut and interfaced. Still haven't cut all my batting though, so you could say I'm 90% done. Flying geese, I still have to make one flying geese and I still have to quilt my border blocks, but I have prepped it. So it's 2 hoopins and I'll be done. I made all my pinwheels, but I still have 3 of them to quilt. When we did the pinwheel class, the first time I did it, I did not trim. Like before I quilted them, I did not trim them to size, and I trimmed them after. And I could see where that could be a problem with centering perfectly. So the other pinwheels I made, I have not quilted yet. I trimmed those to size. So now they're perfect. So when I go and place them on top the batting to quilt them, I'll probably do a much better job of putting it right in the center, like I'm supposed to. All right, we are done. So I still have to quilt those. And I still have to make 2 witches and then our today's homework. I am behind. It is fine. Okay, let's get our hoop off the machine. So it is done. That was the last step. So I might get some scraps of this that I can actually use. But we're going to go around and trim this like an applique, and it doesn't have to be perfect. But the cool thing about this one is you can leave a little space in between the material and the stitch line. See how I'm leaving some space? I'm not trying to cut right on the stitch line. You can do that with these types of applique that don't have a finishing stitch that covers the raw edge. I find it makes it a little more fun, but do whatever works for you. I'm going to trim each of these thimbles out. And last one. I love this shiny silver. It's using things like this that like really It makes a real big difference. Like, look how pretty that is. And then this one is actually serving as a pot with a flower coming out of it. And we're going to add a button that looks like a flower on top. Isn't that cute? And I probably can use this for something down the road. So of course I'm going to save it. All right, we're done with this. And we're going to do the same thing we did here. We're going to dissolve the basting stitch. If you didn't use water-soluble thread, you can just use your scissors and cut it out. I tried that on my last quilting project just to see which method I liked better, and I decided I liked this method better. But I liked it by soaking it, not by trying to do the whole Q-tip dipping thing. That took way too long. So I just went down to soaking it with water is the only way to get it out fully, quickly. I felt like I was rubbing it with a Q-tip forever. And then just grab the bobbin thread off the back. And iron. Now that silvery faux leather, that is probably heat sensitive, so I'm definitely not going to touch that with my iron. But I'm just trying to get these edges nice and smooth before I trim. It is still very wet, so it's like steaming it. Okay, I'm not going to worry. It is smooth, but it is not dry. And I'm turning on its back side. And this time we're going to use the rectangle 4x6, but it's the same process. So I am lining it up to where that it's in the center. And once I'm happy with it, I start cutting. Hey, it did good that time. So there is our thimble flowers block. So there's our 2 blocks for today. Super cute. I love this leather. So pretty. I think I bought some from Kimberbell. I think I have a roll of it somewhere in one of my packages that I probably have on a shelf, where they had like the deal of the week, and I bought some things and I just needed to spend a little bit more money to get free shipping. Threw that in there. I think I got silver and gold maybe. This has come with several kits like Bella boxes, and I don't remember if it came with Oh So Delightful, but there's some other things I've done that this came with the kit, and I love it. It's so cool. You know, for certain things, it works perfectly. So yay. Our 2 blocks for today are done. So your homework is to go do 2 more pumpkins, and then we will be back next week and we're going to do a tombstone block, which there are 3 tombstones on the quilt. So we'll do 1 live and we could do the other 2 later. And then the broom parking sign, that is going to be the other block that we're going to do next Tuesday. I'm back to being in the morning next week. So next Tuesday will be 10:30 Central Standard Time. And yep, that's it. And if you're not busy tomorrow, I'm going to be live at 10:30 a.m. Friday, September 19th, for my September Sip and Stitch. So I do a live tutorial once a month that we call Sip and Stitch, and we change it up every month. And this month we're going to be playing with making patches. So this is the patch we're going to make tomorrow, but we can customize it to say whatever you want, to put like the name of your team or a slogan or something like that, or a name if you want, if you have a football player in your family. But we're going to be making patches, and I'm going to iron those patches all over a shirt and make myself a cute LSU tiger shirt for me, because, you know, I'm a tiger. But look at these. I think I showed you these already, but I stitched 2 more yesterday. I haven't dissolved the stabilizer yet. This I did on the wash away stabilizer. Look how pretty they are. Wait, I needed to focus on the tigers. Only there. Look at that, how cute they are. So they still have the white bit surrounding it. That's going to dissolve away. But this is an all thread patch design. I'm going to show you how you can make these in tomorrow's class. Like, you can take any design you have. If you wanted to take the pumpkin that we did today, or the thimble or something, you can turn it into a patch with the software that I'm going to show you tomorrow. It's Patch Artist from Embrilliance. But I just bought this tiger all thread embroidery design off of Etsy, and with the click of a button it turned it into a patch. And then you have all these options, and I chose the legit all thread option. And so it stitched a whole base first and then stitched the tiger on top of it. So it is dense, but my 6 needle machine handled it like a champ. I literally just hooped the wash away stabilizer and set my machine and left. It took 125 minutes to stitch both of these out, but I just did all my other stuff while that was stitching. So that was beautiful. I loved it because it just changed the thread colors for me and I could just walk away. But it handled it really well. I tried stitching one of these on the Skitch, which is the machine I'm using tomorrow for tomorrow's tutorial, and it struggled in some spots. Still came out, but it struggled. So definitely the 6 needles better for these super duper dense patches. But the Skitch handles the football, which is like an applique, no problem. So you can make a bunch of these, or patches that are not so dense like this one is. But that is tomorrow's class on YouTube, 10:30 a.m. Central Time, Sip and Stitch. Come join me. It's going to be fun. And then I'll be back next Tuesday to continue our sew along. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday, and hopefully I see you tomorrow. So bye, everyone.